machine would now be what? All right.
So what happened to the one we clone?
Okay. You need us to use that?
Yeah, we can reclone it because I reclone mine again, like reclone.
Okay. Oh, yeah, of course we can reclone. So you are saying instead of going through all the steps of creating a fresh VM, we can just clone an existing
yes,
one.
sir.
Okay. I'm just not in the mood. Why? What's bringing? Is it because you guys are not? Let me try. Let me first. All right. So can you see my VM virtual box manager?
Yes.
What's my clone here? Domain controller clone.
Yeah.
Did you do that here in this class? Is this for you?
Yes.
There's another one here. This is a clone of this clone. The clone of that clone. It's not about did I clone this for your class or was it for a different class? Okay, I deleted the clone. All right, so let's clone another one. Domain controller clone. Let's clone this. So to clone, what do we do? A clone of clone. All right, so take snapshot, properties, clone. And call it, I'm not even sure what's in there. Domain controller, secondary domain controller, or domain controller 2. Here I want to say, include all NAT configuration, all NAT network adapter MAC addresses. No. Generate new MAC addresses because it's going to be, I think I explained this, it's going to be a brand new machine. Don't just make a copy of that. All right, then I say next. Full clone? Yes, full clone. Just replicate that machine. All right, so this is much faster than creating a new VM, loading your operating system, so on and so forth. So this is the beauty of working with virtual machines. You are working with really hardware computers, physical computers, then there's no shortcut. You have to go and buy a new server. All right, so what I want to show you with this is to see if we can create a backup or a secondary domain controller and then use that secondary domain controller to also set up a secondary DHCP server. No, it's actually, for domain controller, it's called secondary, but for DHCP server, we call it backup DHCP server and then backup DNS server. These are interview questions. Can you create a backup for our DNS server so that if anything happens to the primary DNS server, we can still continue in business and not lose everything? So we'll use this second domain controller now to try and create backups. All right, your question now.
So I want to ask, this other virtual machine that we are cloning, will it affect our RAM?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, questions? All right, so the machine is still cloning. Let's go and see how it's cloning. Oh, they still got a long way to go. So by the time I teach you this, we should be done with, I originally planned 4 weeks, but looks like we'll be through after one more lecture. If we're able to complete what I intend to show you today, then we'll just have one more lecture on how to share files, how to share resources with users, with groups, and then that will be it. Then you can have next week to practice so that I'll still be available for you next week. So rather than taking new subjects and learning something new, you just bring in the challenges that you have and we'll just trash them. We explain, like revision, explain what you are supposed to have known with, by what we have done so far, and then we'll have covered at least the basics and even actually up to the intermediate level of Windows Server Administration.
And after that?
And then after that, I'll release you. You can go into the world and go and see what you can do there. For some persons, 1 or 2 more weeks of additional practice, you should be fit for the kind of job. Let me see those faces again. Simple network administration jobs. I don't know where Anne works, but for her kind of role, you want to share with us where your job experience so that people can learn and see. Anyway, that's fine. Then who else wants to share with us? So somebody's asking, what after this training? What else? So we're trying to learn from people on the field to see, okay, this is what you could do. But broadly speaking, you begin to look out for opportunities with what you have learned. And then some people will find out, well, that is a good background, but it's not much. I need to learn on top of this to be able to get the kind of job that I want, that I really, because you're going to find, all right, so somebody's joining us. Let's admit them in. Where were we? You remember that English? What did we call it? DC2? Okay,
DC2,
right.
yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. So we're running our DC2. Now let us back up. Let us make this DC2 our secondary domain controller. At this point, I'll have to call up the manual so that I don't. I'll copy that manual for you. I'll copy this part of the manual. All right. So this. So am I still able to log on with my? It's a clone system. So my password for the first system is still valid on my clone.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I have something. Yes, sir. I'm just getting in now, and I heard you
talking about training after whatever payment and the rest. Sir, please, can you just recap for me, sir? Even if it's
Can I do what?
Can you just please bring me up to speed, sir? Even if it's just 10 seconds. Please,
Don't worry about it. You have this on video on YouTube. You can watch it.
Okay, sir.
The promise originally was I was not going to dwell on money or anything. So anything that would take me to talk about money, I don't. All right. So here we are. Recognize this place. This is our DC2, our secondary domain controller, right?
Yes.
All right. So what are we here to do? We want to create a backup.
HDHCP.
Okay, let's first of all create the mother of them all. What's the mother? What's the mother of all servers?
ADDS.
ADDS, yes. All right, so we have ADDS, DHCP already loaded. All these three already loaded. Okay. So let us go to, I hope this works. Let's go to, okay, let's look at the server. Let me minimize this. Can you see this?
Sir.
Public
Yes, sir.
firewall is off. It has this IP address. Have the IP address. This doesn't look like this will work. Well, let's find out. And then there's this caution sign. Promote this server to a domain controller. Okay, it has already promoted, so hopefully it works. Okay, let's go now. Let's try and do it. All right. So this is the clue. I haven't done anything yet, so I'm just starting now. So it says promote. Where is it? Promote this server to domain controller. So I take that. No. Before we do this, what should we do? This is not the first thing to do. Are you sure you want to cancel here? All right. So let's reason together. I know that I do not expect you to just answer to just jump at you. Now we want to make this domain controller part of our domain. Part of our existing domain. We are not creating a new domain controller for a new domain. We are creating a second domain controller for the existing domain. In other words, we are bringing a third virtual machine into the domain that already has two virtual machines. So
already.
Yeah. So what do we do? I mean, it's like a project now, a small project. So it's up to you. What do we now do to begin? How do we begin to handle this project? At this level, is
Rename.
Okay. The first for me, the first thing is to add it to the first network. Assign an IP address to it that is part of the other address.
Okay, that's fine.
192.25.
That's correct. For me, that's the first thing I'll do. Renaming will not. How is renaming vital to the project? It's just like finishing touch. Real thing is what. Okay, you're talking about rename because this one is D4, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we need to rename it D2. That's what you mean. Okay, because it has the same name. What's the name of the other one? D4. This is 5. Okay, so there are two distinct names, so we don't really need to rename. What I mean is we don't need to. We need to. It's not like renaming. It's not like the core thing that we need to do. The core thing we need to do is what